Here in Indianapolis, ready to kick off. And yeah, the roof is open. Short notice and unusual for this late in the season. Temperature in the 40s, a little breeze, but the sun is out. So let's head down to the field and a bundled up Laura Oakman.
As you said, Chris, the Titans have never won in this building, but they say bring it on. That's just one more box to check this year. Moose, help me out. They hadn't won in Jacksonville since 2013. Week 2, check the box. They lost to Indy 11 straight times. Week 6, Moose, check that box off. The last time they've won in Indy, not since 2007. Mike Mularkey's message to the team, we've got to do it sometime. Why not today? We've checked a whole lot of boxes off here. Let's check this one off too. Thanks for the help, Moose.
You got it, Laura.
And ready to kick off. Titans won the toss, deferred. Week 12, Titans and Colts from Indy. Only 3 kickoff returns in the NFL have been run back for touchdowns this year, and hasn't happened with either one of these teams. So here comes the touchback and the Colts offense. Already some shuffling on that offensive line to help pave the way for Frank Gore, who's moving in on another milestone.
Yeah, just an amazing accomplishment by Frank Gore during the course of the season, and that's been behind an offensive line that's been in continual flux throughout the year. I have always been impressed with Frank Gore, and to listen to the guys from the Titans talk about it, listen, I know it's a tough year for Indy right now, but you watch Frank Gore, you can't tell. He's always the same.
5 down.
White 20. Brissett marking the signals, opens with a pass and overthrows T.Y. Hilton for Brissett. His first start as a Colt came in week 2. It was a September acquisition with the Andrew Luck drama. And you see lately he's settled in, as you talked about moments ago. 6 touchdown passes in his last 3 games. Also a threat to move on the ground at 6'4" and 235 pounds.
Looks completely different. We had them in week 2. Looks completely different getting ready for them to watch this game.
Banana. White 20. What's good?
There's a fan there. There's a fucking hanging.
19. Great tight. 2nd and 10. Brissett dumps it off. Frank Gore cannot hang on. 2 incomplete passes to start. It'll be 3rd down and 10 against the Tennessee Titans defense. Defensive coordinator Dick LeBeau, and up front some strength and some active linebackers in Orakpo and Woodyard.
The essential ingredients for a Dick LeBeau style defense, that zone blitz scheme that he created, and they've got all the ingredients, but the production has not been there so far yet this season. We'll see if they can get that pressure from the front of the linebackers on track today.
Kevin Byard leads the NFL in interceptions with 6. And sacked is Jacoby Brissett on 3rd and 10. Daquan Jones got to him.
And that's the problem with this style of defense that Dick LeBeau implements. It's more about confusing the offensive line at the snap. All the guys are there. You're only bringing that one extra guy in, but guys become free because you have to think so much and make sure your protection is sound. Tough start for the Colts. 2 missed throws by Jacoby Brissett and then a sack by the Tennessee Titans.
Adoree Jackson back to receive. Rigoberto Sanchez inside his own 5. Now with the window and roof open, there is a little bit of a breeze in his face. As he was telling me during the pregame kicks, Jackson inside the 30 and off and running for the Titans. Knocked down hard when he got across the 35-yard line. A good field position for this Tennessee offense. Ben Jones receiving praise at center from his quarterback, and Taylor Lewan, the left tackle, getting praise from his head coach when we talked about this team yesterday.
Yeah, but this is one of the better offensive lines. Coming into the season, you looked around the NFL, I thought Dallas, I thought Oakland, I thought Tennessee, the top offensive lines in the league. For that skill set right there, not to have the production that they're having yet. Talked to Russ Grimm before the game. They're making some strides. He'd like to see them a little bit more consistent, sustaining and finishing their blocks.
Rashard Matthews inactive with a hamstring injury as DeMarco Murray gets the carry. Eric Decker starting at the other receiver spot. Marcus Mariota a lot healthier than the earlier meeting when he had a hamstring problem back in October against this Colts team. 8 touchdown passes this season. He's run for 4 and a little more active in the run game overall, something that Darryl will take us through throughout the game. It's an imposing run game as Murray stopped short of the 40. And a Colt defense defense, Darryl, that yes, they're giving up 28 points a game, which is the highest in the NFL, but not lately. They've shown great improvement.
Yeah, they really have. If you go back and look over the last 3 games, they're playing much better. Now, statistically, their rankings are going to be impacted by the first 7 weeks of the season. It's going to be hard to turn that ship, but on film and talking to the Tennessee Titans, they see a big difference in this defense over the last 3 games.
An early third down test just inside their own 40. After a couple of runs, Mariota with time. And catch made. Eric Decker with a first down all the way inside the 41 of Indianapolis.
And that's a good sign for Tennessee right there, because you mentioned that last game that they played against Pittsburgh. And Marcus Mariota, he had a couple of throws that were high. He had 4 interceptions. I'd say 3 directly tied to him, had the 1 deflection. That's a real nice throw. Crossing route across the middle of the field. Pretty good coverage right there, but a nice throw by Marcus.
Pick up of 17 on a third down. Actually spotted at the 43 of the Colts. Derrick Henry is now in the backfield. He gets the football. He's met right away. He'll lose a yard or 2. Shoved backwards by Al Woods.
That's one of the areas why I think that this Colts defense is playing better. The run defense is really starting to pick up. They shuffled a little bit on the back end. They've got some new faces back there. And Marcus Mariota, he actually said, you look at them and they're different than they were just a few weeks ago when we played them. So there's new players back there, but they're also playing a little bit better as a group than we saw getting ready for that first matchup.
Chuck Pagano has held this team together through a lot of adversity. Mariota flips and trying to get to DeMarco Murray in an awkward-looking play. And once again, it'll be third down. Second third down on this drive. Clayton Gathers has come into the game for the Colts.
And this is why eyes are important in this game, because you've got a lot of misdirection. You're going to bring Delaney Walker across. There's a motion there. You fake that, and then you come out the backside, try and get a little bootleg to DeMarco Murray. So for the Colts as defenders, they've got to be able to visualize. They've got to be able to see. We talk about a lot of things that defensive players have to do today. Eyes will be very critical for the Colts.
Delaney Walker, the leading receiver on this Titans team, and Mariota sacked. And Clayton Gathers comes in on defense, comes back from a neck injury suffered last December, and gets the sack. There is a flag down at the 32-yard line.
Holding. Defense, number 30. It's a 5-yard penalty and automatic. First down.
Well, if you can get that drawn up where you can get Clayton Gathers going against Harry Douglas in pass protection, that's a safety going up against a wide receiver in that situation. So that's a huge plus. And the hold on Eric Decker right there by Rashawn Melvin.
And it dampens the moment for Gathers' return, but also Harry Douglas, his first game now this season, active off the injured list for Tennessee. And an accurate call by Craig Ralston and his crew. Mariota is going to keep and glide out of bounds inside the 35-yard line of the Colts.
And that'll be the element today that Indianapolis has to deal with. Last time they played, Marcus Mariota couldn't really move out of that pocket. He had that hamstring, and he was kind of confined to being a pocket player. And Mike Mularkey says right now that I've thrown more on Marcus Mariota's plate than any quarterback I've worked with, especially in the run game, the different things that he brings to that running game.
Mariota telling us, too, that he's learned at this point in his NFL career how to take care of his body a little bit more in terms of the throw-run possibilities that he has after a pickup of 6. He keeps and then throws, completes. It's Delaney Walker, and he gets down inside the 20 of Indianapolis. Boy, that's the threat. If you're a defender, you saw what Mariota did on the previous play as Walker is in trouble, and now on the move, he completes the pass. Hope that Walker, who's been the go-to guy, Mr. Steady, did have that tough drop against the Steelers in that Thursday night game, but we will check on the injury of the Titans tight end in just a moment.
Game is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Low fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency.
Delaney Walker working for some extra yards after the catch. Watch the right ankle as he comes out of bounds and gets into the white with this step right there. He gets rolled up on. But the good news is he was kind of bouncing on that ankle, walking back to the sidelines. Hopefully we'll see him in here pretty quick.
Jonnu Smith in at tight end. Dennis Kelly, the extra lineman. From the 19 on first down, Derrick Henry bounces one way and gets down to about the 19-yard line before he goes out of bounds. There just wasn't a lot of running room for the former Heisman Trophy winner from Alabama.
Tried to get that play up inside, and they actually had two guys have to take the blitzing linebacker coming in as Delaney Walker jogs back onto the field. But I'm still impressed when I watched Derrick Henry run the football. I mean, this is a big guy. You think he's going to be very, very physical. He's 6'3", 247, but the ability to get out on the edge like that is very smooth for that size.
You saw the impressive numbers. Mariota in the red zone has not thrown a pick. Very productive in his career down here. It's to DeMarco Murray. He's brought down right away. Couldn't shake the tackle of Al Woods. Again on this drive. Impressive in this opening quarter.
Jonathan Hankins, Al Woods, Margus Hunt, they've got some big bodies inside, and that's where the effectiveness comes on this run play right here. Coming from the backside, you've got a little post there, but you know, as your pullers come around, just the timing is perfect for Al Woods to get in the backfield, make a tackle for a loss.
Both Henry and Murray in the backfield on 3rd and 12. Colts shuffling the defense around. Time for Mariota, and in the middle of the field, juggled. Walker did hold on, but short of the first down.
He's walking in motion. Kind of get your eyes over there to think about run. Then just a little simple hook route right over top of the center.
This will be a 29-yard field goal attempt. Brett Kern, the punter, who's having a terrific year. The holder for Ryan Suckup in his 9th year. Had his streak of 56 consecutive kicks from beyond 50 snapped. This should be a chip shot to give the Titans the lead. And he does. Mariota moving his team downfield. Colts defense keeps him out of the end zone, but the Titans lead by 3.
This game is sponsored by Pizza Hut. No one out-pizzas the Hut.
Drew Powell, you see him on the Fox show Gotham. He was here. He's from Indy. Part of the pregame ritual. Also Chip Weaver, by the way, works our audio, our sub-mixer. Famous resident of Indiana with Kevin McCloskey, who brings us great audio on this crew every weekend. Another touchback. The Colt offense will come back out to the 25. Now trailing 3-0. This weekend, Super Saturday on Fox begins with the Big 12 football championship. Oklahoma and TCU. Then a huge day of Big 10 basketball. Ohio State and Wisconsin in a showdown as they meet here in Indianapolis. It's the Big 10 football showdown Super Saturday. And Fox has it covered for you next weekend. Daryl Johnston, Chris Myers, hope you're enjoying your weekend. A streak on the line, a playoff spot on the line. The Titans battling the Colts, giving them problems over the years. Frank Gore knocked down right away in the backfield, will lose yardage. Daquan Jones, who's already been involved in a sack, active there on the 34-year-old running back.
Yeah, nowhere to go. You get pressure that quickly. You're tackled in the backfield, pulling the offensive line. Look all the way to the top of your screen. Daquan Jones beats the inside block, and he's in the backfield in a heartbeat.
This Tennessee defense has not allowed Brissett or this Colt offense to get a foot in the turf here. Second series for Indy, and already backed up. Brissett on the move. He'll keep it. There's a flag down as he slides across the 25-yard line.
Holding. Offense, number 74. It's a 10-yard penalty. Second down.
Thank you, Craig Ralston. Let's get a game break and check in. Say hi to Carissa Thompson. Hey, Carissa.
Hi, Chris. We head to New England. Opening drive of the game. Rex Burkhead caps off a 75-yard drive with a 2-yard score. Pats looking for their 7th straight. They're up 7-0. Chris, Darrell, and more.
All right, thank you. Keep an eye on that.
Hey, pull up. Low. Yeah. Low.
By 20. After the penalty, 2nd and 23. Dump it off to Gore underneath. Bring up 3rd and long. They got to get all the way to the 35 for a Colts first down.
You're just trying to get some type of rhythm here at the start of the game, and it's been all negative plays for this Colts offense. I mean, Jacoby Brissett misses a couple of quick throws early in the game. We've had sacks, holding penalties, negative runs. So Dick LeBeau and his group off to a good start, and especially getting pressure on Jacoby Brissett. It's an area that they've kind of taken a step back from last season to this season.
Colts have lost 4 of the last 5 games, and 1 win was at Houston back in Week 9. Trying to improve on a 3-7 record, and Brissett in trouble again. And at the 20, he'll go down. The ball is out, but the whistle blew, and the official signal was that he was down.
Quarterback's forward progress had stopped. 4th down.
Jan Brown, the rookie from UCLA, making the tackle and the forward progress here, so this is not a reviewable play called down right away.
And again, more pressure on the quarterback. So, for a defense that, had 40 sacks last year, 6th in the NFL, off to a slow start this year, 5th fewest through this point of the season. Having a good start this afternoon.
Sanchez punting for the 2nd time, drives Adoree Jackson back inside the 30, bounces forward to the 35, and the Colts lost 5 yards on that. Talk about the bounces going your way. Titans and Marcus Mariota, he's already 3 out of 4 and protecting a 3-0 lead.
Today's game is sponsored by Samsung and by Zales. 'Tis the season to save and sparkle more than ever. Zales, the diamond store.
Mike Malarkey trying to check off another box, as we talked about when we opened the broadcast, and said that this is the closest team he's ever been on, and feels that they have a real chance, and by that he means playoffs and maybe further. Just trying to get their 7th win at this point. First down from the 36. Mariota deep down the middle for Walker, and with 3 Colts around him, he hauled it in. It was as if he had radar.
Wow. All right, all you Titans fans that were worried about Marcus Mariota after his performance last time out against Pittsburgh, I think you can put that away. Delaney Walker coming from your traditional tight end spot. It's a 2-man route. You've got Supernal on the flat to the left side. Look at all the coverage on Delaney Walker right here. He's got Colts running step for step with him from every direction. That's a phenomenal throw.
And a great catch, a gain of 37 yards inside the 30 with Derrick Henry now in the backfield and Walker in motion. And Henry will get smothered and shoved backward. Arkevius Mingo, part of that. Haven't been able to really run the ball with much success today. Mariota, by the way, he passed for, he had 306 yards in that Pitt game, that last game in a defeat, but he passed for, at the time, a season-high 306 yards in that win over the Colts back in October.
Yeah, but you don't want to have to rely on that. Right now, let's give some credit to this Colts front. This is the area that they're playing well right now. They are reestablishing the line of scrimmage against what I still feel is one of the better offensive line in the NFL, the Titans. I don't know why they're struggling a bit this year.
After no gain, DeMarco Murray to about the 26-yard line.
I mean, they've got all the ingredients in that offensive line. Big guys, athletic guys, nasty guys. And then you look at the running backs coming behind with DeMarco Murray and Derrick Henry. There should be a little bit more success here the past few weeks.
And extra rest. Again, the Colts coming off that bye, and the Titans having played a week ago Thursday. Taylor Lewan slow getting up the left tackle, looked like, and he's heading over now to the Titans sideline.
And that to me is your most important cog, not just because Taylor Lewan plays left tackle and how important that is, because that's usually your open side tackle by formation, but he's got that nasty to him. And he's the guy that kind of gets the whole thing going.
Dennis Kelly will move over into that spot on a 3rd down and 8. From the 25, Mariota dumps it off short of the 1st down, and Walker shoved back as there is a flag down.
He's already lobbying for the offensive pass interference.
Or against that. That looks like the call. It'll be 4th down if declined.
Pass interference. Offense, number 82. The 10-yard penalty, replay. 3rd down.
Penalty accepted to back them up, so they'll get another shot on 3rd down. They're just going to be backed up more.
All right, let's take a look at it. There's Delaney Walker, number 82, working against Jeremiah George. That is vintage Michael Irvin right there. You drop the shoulder. It's the shoulder that creates the contact. You never extend the hand. I don't agree with the call. I thought that was well done. Very sneaky by Delaney Walker to get that separation.
Need to get down to the 18-yard line for a 1st down from the 35-yard line. Plenty of time underneath. Mariota completes. Tawant Taylor, the rookie from Western Kentucky. It's 4th down. It'll just be a longer field goal try.
Yeah, but a good play right there. You know the circumstances. It's going to be very difficult to convert and get another set of downs, but give your field goal kicker a little bit better shot. That was going to be a 53-ish type field goal if they don't get any yards on that last play.
Earlier with his 200th career field goal. This will be from 45 yards away. Would have been 38 before, Darryl, and he's this year 24 out of 28. Ryan Suckup. And a good view of that kick going through. A couple of field goals is what the Titans have been able to come up with so far. They've been having trouble moving the ball on the ground. They settle for another 3 and lead 6-0. Titans, after a couple of field goals in this opening quarter, getting ready to kick off. The Colts anxious to get that offense back out there. They have -3 yards so far in a couple of series. Back to receive the kick, Josh Ferguson, but hasn't had a chance. Touchback so far. And this will be another one. Brissett leads the offense out to the 25-yard line.
And the big thing on this series right now for Jacoby Brissett, you've got to get a productive play on 1st down. You mentioned, Chris, the fact that they're -3 total yards after their first 2 series. You know, a couple of quick passes he's missed on, negative runs, sacks by the offensive line. So you've got to come out here on this first play. Get something positive.
Frank Gore got an early carry and had a pass thrown in his direction. Marlon Mack, the rookie from South Florida, is in the backfield for Chuck Pagano. Go! He gets it on 1st down. There's nowhere for him to go. They lose a half a yard.
We talked to Brian Arakpo about bringing in Marlon Mack and that changeup, and hey, is that a big thing for you guys? He goes, absolutely, absolutely. We have to know that has to get up and down through the course of the defense to let everybody know, because he is more of a perimeter guy. He'll look to get to the edges. He's not going to stay inside as much as Frank will.
Officially no gain on that. Back into a crowd. It'll bring up 3rd and about 6 or 7 that need to get obviously to the 35. Try and get a 1st down against Dick LeBeau's defense at 80 years old. 59th straight NFL season, whether he's been playing, assistant coach, head coach. He is a living treasure for those in and around the game. And invented a number of things that Arakpo and some of the Titans defenders talked about, how much they enjoy listening to him talk. On 3rd and 6. Open and catch made. T.Y. Hilton has a first down. The Colts' first down of this game.
It's a good job by Jacoby Brissett on that play. Staying in there, bringing pressure on it. They're going to loop everybody around, but he hangs in that pocket. The protection doesn't break down. Sometimes you get that feel with all these players around you that protection is breaking down, and he stays in there and makes a nice throw.
Mack remains the back, 38-yard line. Brissett to Marlon Mack, and goes out of bounds just across the 41 of Indianapolis.
It's kind of funny when we did talk to Brian Arakpo, and he's, you sit in a meeting with a guy like Dick LeBeau, and he says, when I invented this
Right.
this style of defense, you're learning from the master.
Like sitting with Ben Franklin when you're talking defenses in the history of the NFL, as LeBeau, his defense has shut out the Colts in the opening quarter. Indianapolis hoping to answer a couple of field goals. They go from the past to this Titans-Colts rivalry to the present here in the AFC South, and we'll continue with the second quarter in a moment. And the retractable roof opened, also a window on the other side here at Lucas Oil Stadium. NFL rules say 90 minutes before you make a decision, and here it has to stay open unless there's threatening weather. There is none in the area. Brissett keeps and goes down right away. And a little bit unusual, it's really the latest in the year, and according to the Colts, the coldest that it has been with the roof open. Temperature in the 40s. It is a sunny day, Darryl, but the shadows might play into this. And again, there is a little bit of a breeze with that open window. And when I talked to Mike Mularkey of the Titans, he said, well, this is fine for us. This is what we practice and we play in.
They're getting much of an advantage from the Colts. And quarterbacks usually, they'll like it closed so that you get the fan noise. The noise stays inside the stadium.
Decision talked about yesterday and made officially today as Brissett goes down. The ball comes out, and it looks like the Colts are on it. A sack, fumble, and a flag. Flag is up at the 46-yard line. Derek Morgan forced the loose football.
This looks like it's going to be a get better game for this Titans front because they have struggled to get pressure on the quarterbacks. Their numbers are down, but they're off to a great start here this afternoon.
Illegal hands to the face. Defense, number 26. That's a 5-yard penalty and an automatic first down.
The PA system overmodulating a bit. Sorry about that, but you heard the call on Logan Ryan.
You see on the jam, just kind of gets that hand up on the face real quick. Again, a lot of times you got to keep it there. And that penalty takes away this sack and a potential fumble opportunity.
20,
Fresh set of downs from the 45. Mack looking for somewhere to go and maybe a yard. Let's head to Laura.
I want to go back to what you're talking about with the weather. I laughed when you said Mike Mularkey's fine with it. I don't think he's talked to all of his players or the Colts players. It's beautiful football weather, but the problem was nobody really expected this. So even the heaters aren't really heaters. They're fans that are blowing cold air, which the players are talking about, and also just dressing-wise, didn't have their warm stuff, were not prepared for it. It's not a terribly cold game, but just not what everyone was expecting.
Yeah, and even the officiating crew didn't bring their cold weather gear. Brissett on target to Jack Doyle. That'll heat up this crowd. Leads the team in catches. That's his 53rd of the year.
Jack Doyle, number 84, coming right from that spot. And it's the little out and up route. It's a staple in a lot of offenses around the NFL, and especially with Jack Doyle. You know he's going to work that middle part of the field, and got to be ready for that play every time you play the Colts.
Undrafted free agent who's a homegrown product from Indianapolis. Brissett has room to run. He's going to keep. Gets inside the 30 and kind of tight ropes down the sideline. Now, well, there was a whistle as he kind of cruised into the end zone. Let's see it spotted or inside maybe the 24. They're discussing the exact spot where he went out of bounds, but a great effort. There's the 25-yard line.
But I want you to watch Jacoby Brissett's eyes, and he was looking down the field the whole time. We'll see as he gets close to the sideline.
Right.
There's the one right there. So at the 21, a little bit outside the 21-yard line. So that spot is off.
They should move that up. There's 4 yards back. They want to challenge or look at this.
21-yard line. It'll be a first down.
All right, so Craig Ralston, even though it was a bit chilly without his long sleeves, the crew, they're on top of it. Yeah, the officiating crew said, we just assumed the roof was going to be closed. we got here. And I said, have Alberto Riveron ship you guys some sweaters or something. Kind of an interesting move that was tweeted out by the owner, Jim Irsay, yesterday. And then they checked it this morning and said, hey, we're going to leave it open. It's a beautiful fall day, just a little chilly here in the shadows.
Kill. 19.
Marlon Mack down to about the 15-yard line. Let's check it again with Caruso.
Thanks, Chris. We head to Kansas City. Scoreless in the first. Zay Jones is going to score on this 11-yard pass from Tyrod Taylor, who's back under center this week. Bills trying to snap a 3-game losing streak. They're up 7-0. Chris, Joe, and Laura.
Thank you. And the standings in the AFC East, and of course, Buffalo with Tennessee 6-4 in that wild card mix as well. Spotted at the 16. Frank Gore in a direct snap, and Frank Gore gets a first down inside the 8. It's going to be first and goal in Indianapolis.
You got to respect. When Jacoby Brissett leaves there, you got to adjust your gaps defensively. They go with a direct snap right to Frank Gore, wrap around Jeremy Vunovich. Still got it. 34 years of age, Frank Gore.
Running straight ahead.
White 20. Tight.
Colts would like more touchdowns when they get down inside the 20. Gore tackled right away. It'll bring up second and goal. Frank Gore, his 13th year. This is his 3rd year with the Colts. And he comes in, his career average is among the best ever at near 4.4, but this year at a career low, 3.5 yards a carry. And a chance to inch closer on the all-time rushing list. He's the NFL's leading active rusher.
20. Good. What's coming in? 19.
Jacoby Brissett for the end zone, and Doyle, and incomplete.
Running a corner route this time, working against Avery Williamson. There's some hands there you can see right there.
Yeah, I mean,
and on that one, because he held the arm. He didn't allow that right arm to get forward, so you can hear the boos coming here. I think there's enough there. I mean, during the course of the season, yeah, absolutely. I think you could have thrown a flag on that one.
No flag, 3rd and goal.
Good. Wrong. Yeah. 5 down. 19.
Brissett. Not a lot of room to run, and has to get rid of it. It's running out of bounds, and it'll be 4th down. So field goal try coming up. If he had run to his left there, it looked like there was a lot of room for a guy like Brissett maybe to chance taking it into the end zone.
Unfortunately, that's where the pressure is going to come from. Arakpo comes inside. That's what flushes him, actually. It's that twist happens inside, and you've got the defender coming around the outside. That kind of forces Jacoby Brissett out to his right.
Adam Vinatieri, 44 years old in his 22nd season. And gets the Colts on the board. AFC South squabble, trading field goals. The Titans holding a 3-point lead.
Today's game is sponsored by Chevy. Chevy has earned J.D. Power Dependability Awards for cars, trucks, and SUVs. And by Citizen. Watches powered by any light. Never needs a battery.
Daryl Johnston, Chris Myers here in Indianapolis. That's what Daryl does in the booth all the time.
The heavy metal cam is down. I haven't made it up there yet. I'm waiting.
Air guitar cam. Vinatieri with the field goal to get the Colts on the board. Another touchback. That's what we've seen. So out to the 25-yard line. I mentioned the squabble here in the AFC South. First formed in 2002. The Jags are the current leaders, but the Colts have dominated the division for most of the history. Texans have won it 4 of the last 6 seasons, Daryl. Titans have only won the division twice, not since 2008. The Jags have never won it.
Yeah, you kind of flip that the way it's gone this year to what has gone historically since they created this division. And remember, this is a quarterback-driven game. You can see right there the Colts, the success they've had, obviously Peyton Manning, Andrew Luck, a lot of stability at their quarterback spot until this year. But the other 3 franchises, and they're trying to figure that spot out long term.
And the Titans feel with Mariota, they have the quarterback. Lawan Backett at left tackle. DeMarco Murray, maybe a yard. Tough sledding for this ground game of the Titans so far.
And I think you're right. I think you hit on a great point there, Chris, about Marcus Mariota being the guy of the future. And just listening to Mike Mularkey talk about him, you know, how he's put so much on his shoulders right now, and he just continues to respond. I think he adds an element there in the run game. I think he's definitely their future moving forward.
Without a huddle and open on target. Pass complete. Corey Davis, the rookie from Western Michigan, the first-round draft pick. Number Rashard Matthews, the second leading receiver on the team, inactive with a hamstring. And without a huddle, they go to the line again after a pickup of 12. Delaney Walker, leading receiver in the game with 3 catches so far. DeMarco Murray, and the Colts are ready. Boy, you know, having John Simon back and just the effort by the Colt defense that you've talked about has made a difference overall in the attitude, and they're standing up against the run rather well here.
Yeah, John Simon comes back this week. Clayton Gathers, it's been a year. It was a year ago this game that he got hurt and was put on IR and then had neck surgery, and this is his first game back. To have them through the course of the bye week on the practice field has really gotten a lot of emotion into this defense.
Something Chuck Pagano talked about, was excited about. Time for Mariota. Pass is caught. It's an interception for the Colts and Rashad Melvin.
We talked about some really nice throws that Marcus Mariota has made to start this game, and this is not one of them. We're not going to put this one in that category. So they're down here at the bottom of your screen working, and it's a ball that has to be put out in front, and it kind of floats a little bit.
Daryl, they're going to look at this closely because it may have hit the ground. The turnover will be reviewed. Ruled an interception on the field. Rashad Melvin holding his right wrist area, headed to the locker room after something that is ruled an interception being reviewed. We will bring in our rules analyst, Mike Pereira, to help us as they are checking this in New York. Mike Pereira, what do you see?
Well, I'll tell you, it's the old notion of going to the ground. Did he have control before he hit the ground? It looked like the hands were...
After review, the ruling on the field stands as called. It is an interception. First down, Indianapolis.
And as they've done a much better job, I think, as the season has progressed, they stay with the call on the ruling on the field because there was really nothing clear and obvious. Dean Blandino's words, clear and obvious to overturn.
I'm going to let all the viewers know, Mike, that was your interpretation of the replay sequence, that you said it was going to stand as called on the field, so they don't think you just tagged.
No, he leads us 1-0.
Yeah, I'm tired of Chris Myers beating Blandino on me, so I had to get on time.
All right, you got that one. You're ahead of his call stands. There wasn't anything to overturn it. Brissett is spinning out of the pocket, brought down short of the 45. Meanwhile, Melvin, who has his 3rd interception of the season to lead the team, serious injury, holding that right wrist arm area and taken to the locker room.
Yeah, and you could see right away, because when he rolled over with the football, he took his right hand off it immediately and went up into the locker room, and that's a big loss. He's been playing really, really well. He asked the coaches to shadow the #1 receiver on the opposition's team.
Mariota was 6 of 7 until that interception. Second down, Colts. Marlon Mack, Frank Gore gets up across the 47-48 yard line. It'll be 3rd down. Well, Chuck Pagano, his record against the Titans, we showed you the history of this AFC South, 10-1 coaching against Tennessee, regardless of who the opposing coach or players are. And down in the standings this year with the injuries and no Andrew Luck. But trying to keep the Colts together. This battle against Tennessee, second in the division behind Jacksonville. On third down, Brissett with time, and Doyle has a first down at the 40-yard line of Tennessee. And a good block from Frank Gore allowed him to make that throw.
Yeah, a really nice block by Frank Gore. He's going to come across the formation and get the pickup right there. That allows Jacoby Brissett to stand in there and make the throw. And that's why Frank is in there predominantly on the third downs. Marlon Mack still trying to get up to speed with the protections and the blitz pickups at the NFL level.
If you have tie-ins in your fantasy, this is a game for you between Doyle and Delaney Walker. Brissett will slide at the 40, get a game break. Say hi to Kurt Menefee.
Okay. All right, Mohamed Sanu, I don't know if you get fantasy points for this, but he lined up at quarterback and threw a 51-yard touchdown pass to Julio Jones, and just seconds ago, Julio scored again. He's got over 100 yards receiving, and the Falcons are starting to roll against the Bucs in the second quarter. Chris Moose.
All right, thank you, Kurt. And that's double fantasy points. Falcons with that impressive win against Seattle. Looking up at the Saints in Carolina.
How about that division? They could send 3 to the playoffs in the NFC.
It's Frank Gore in motion here, and a timeout used by the Colts. There was something that Jacoby Brissett and the sideline were not on the same page on. Now this message from Lowe. After the Colts timeout, they'll have 2 remaining. Under 6 to play, trading field goals with the Titans so far. Brissett's in trouble. Screen set up to Marlon Mack, who gets a block. Mack's inside the 30. Down to the 25, and another Colt first down.
I just think Jacoby Brissett does a nice job. This is a double screen, so he's going to pump it out to his left. Watch as he comes back, and he's going to pump left. When he comes back to his right, there's a little bit of traffic there, and he just holds it for an extra tick. He doesn't panic. It's starting to break down a little bit there, but he holds it for a tick before he gets it to Marlon Mack, or that play doesn't happen.
A pickup of 16 yards, so in field goal range for Vinatieri. Frank Gore is the back.
White 20. What's up?
Here comes a flag.
He's trying to balance out there.
Start. Offense, number 80, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Sometimes we'd say players flinch. That was the hardest flinch I've ever seen. He's trying to catch himself as he flinches.
Like that's a hesitant.
I'm trying to catch myself.
A hesitant flinch.
Tough to hide that one.
Chester Rogers called the act. He knew it. Tough break. Just got an update, and Laura will check on this, that Rashawn Melvin getting an X-ray on that right hand wrist area after the interception that set this drive up for the Colts. 1st and 15. Marlon Mack. Make that Frank Gore. Excuse me. We have 23 carrying the football. Check in with Laura.
I want to continue this Frank Gore conversation. I've had it with Frank Gore about his consistency and how he feels as he's been overlooked year in and year out, saying, I hear a lot of conversation about backs that I'm left out of, and I feel like I don't get a lot of credit, not just for being a running back, for being a football player. Anyone can run the ball. I want to be known as much for what I do when the ball isn't in my hands, like we saw with that great block.
He's one of the best that's ever played in that position, and he doesn't get brought into that conversation a lot. You look at what he's done statistically, and you would think he would be brought into that conversation. I mean, he's been steady his entire career.
2nd down, 10. Going to the turf, Dante Moncrief, and he has a catch inside the 10. That was an outstanding grab to set the Colts up with 1st and goal. They're trying to rush to the line and snap before there could be any kind of review. So they all get set.
There goes the challenge. And he got it out.
The challenge came out. Came out before the snap.
There's a challenge flag on the field.
There's a heck of...
Prior to the last snap, Tennessee has challenged the ruling on the field of a catch.
And this is the first challenge for Mike Mularkey this year. He's about 40% in his career as a head coach in winning challenges. So this was ruled a catch. and challenged by Tennessee.
Here's going to be your look. Does he get his hands underneath that? I don't think that ball is ever going to touch the turf. That's a nice catch. Now it goes away right there. But again, the clear and obvious. But at the beginning
here, Darrell, and they're cheering. Mike Pereira looks pretty good. And
I will tell you what.
Here's what they're looking at.
I'm going 2-0 on this one.
All right.
This is a catch. The hands are underneath the ball. Nothing would indicate that it's incomplete. So I think good call on the field and a confirmation, which we don't always hear in replay very much. Confirmation, but I'm going out on that big limb, that big strong limb, and say might even be a confirmation.
You only get 1 point if they come out and say confirmation. You don't get 1.5. You don't get 1.5 for confirmation.
If they don't change the call, I mean, I should still get the 2 points.
All right, Mike, because what's interesting is I think that Tennessee, they hardly had time to see a replay. I think because of the Colts rushing to the line to snap the ball before, they probably thought, well, maybe there is something to this. We didn't even have time to get to a replay in the broadcast.
And maybe the most impressive thing that we haven't talked about is Mike Mularkey's throw of the challenge flag. I think he threw it like 20 yards. I've never seen one thrown that far before by the coaches.
Moncrief did a good job of keeping that ball.
After review, the ruling on the field stands as called. It is a catch. It will be first down and goal at the 9.5-yard line.
We're gonna subtract a half for bragging about confirmation.
No way.
You could celebrate, Mike. This year we allow celebrations as long as it's not a delay of game. All right, so Pereira's 2-0, 2 for 2 so far today in favor of the Colts, but it was a terrific catch by Dante Moncrief. Brissett now 7 out of 11.
Timer, please put 3:41 on the game clock as Tennessee is charged with the first timeout.
And that means, as you can see with those bars below the team, that Colts and Titans each have 2 timeouts remaining in this first half, and there will be the 2-minute warning.
By 20, cut!
Brissett is going to be sacked, and Arakpo got to him first and would not let him go. Brian Arakpo now with 3.5 sacks this year.
And this is the area that we talked about at the top of the broadcast of being situational. And this is the area that Jacoby Brissett will continue to grow and learn. It's the specialized areas, red zone, third down, and this is where games are won and lost. You can't be settling for field goals. I mean, you watch Tennessee come out and have 2 great drives, but red zone, settle for a field goal. Red zone fringe, couldn't get it into the red zone, had to settle for another field goal.
Brissett completes, getting down to the 10-yard line. Chester Rogers, where it will be 3rd and goal. And you saw the pressure today. Well, for Arakpo, the sacks may be a little bit down compared to what they have been for him, but he came in with 44 quarterback pressures and a little bit of a different role that he's settled into in that 3-4 defense under Dick LeBeau.
Yeah, trying to learn the outside linebacker position completely. You know, it's not just about rushing the passer, it's about, run defense. Dick LeBeau is teaching him things about the position that he did not know. Coverage, having him drop back in coverage and all that different thing. He says he's a much better outside linebacker at this stage of his career than maybe in those years when he had good sack numbers.
9-year veteran Arakpo, end zone incomplete. Moncrief the target. He's one of Dante Moncrief made that terrific catch before, but it looks like another field goal attempt for the Colts and Adam Vinatieri.
We talk about the quarterback understanding things, but it's also, that chemistry with wide receivers, being able to anticipate what Dante Moncrief is going to do in a situation like that. That bond you build between quarterback and wide receiver comes with time, and Colts fans just need to be a little bit patient this year.
A 28-yard try, and Vinatieri delivers. Hit from 26 earlier, so he's 21 out of 22 field goals this season. And Arakpo on the defense keeps the Colts from getting into the end zone.
Today's game is sponsored by Burger King. Try the 2 for $6 Whopper sandwich deal today only at Burger King. And by AT&T.
Roof open here in Indianapolis. Fans warming up to the idea as you see the record. Actually, when the roof is open, the Colts have a pretty good record, but when they open the roof and the side window, kind of evens things out a little bit, and that's where we are, even. 6 each. Sanchez kicking off, and Adoree Jackson will down that. And let's see, they're going to spot him. Make sure that's down at the, yeah, they're calling him down, so out to the 25-yard line. Let's check in with Kurt Menefee.
Coming up on the Visa halftime, the Patriots are looking to put the Dolphins to sleep early. The Chiefs try not to nap against the Bills, and the Browns try to wake up as they take on the Bengals. Kick back and put your feet up. The Visa halftime is next.
Look at Terry Bradshaw, the Visa halftime. Daryl, what do you think of the pattern on that blanket?
Could be a nice jacket, right?
Yeah,
very similar.
Who would wear something like
I actually have one very closer to this one. It's a little bit thinner line with the orange and the brown.
Understandable. Terry taking a nap, as he often does, sometimes at noon Eastern, right before we can't.
We might. Keep it tight.
Mariota on first down. Trying to go to Eric Decker, but the coverage was good.
And you can hear the players on the field calling for the holding. I agree right there. Eric Decker couldn't get his other hand up. Let's watch Kenny Moore in the lineup right now. See if he traps that one hand as he holds that right arm down.
Kenny Moore, the rookie from Valdosta State. Remember Rashaan Melvin, who had the interception, which set up the Colts' most recent field goal, still getting that right wrist hand area checked after he went to the turf to make the pick. Mariota, middle of the field. Oh, and it's juggled and intercepted. They share the pick, but Nate Hairston ends up with the football. It was tipped, but Hairston stayed with it. Butler to Hairston. It's a pick for the Colts. A frustrated Marcus Mariota with his second interception today. He had a career worst 4 picks against the Steelers in the game prior to this. And the return puts the Colts at the 34 of Tennessee.
White 20. White 20. Hey, kill. Even 2 over the 9. 2 over the 9. 319. Right tight.
Frank Gore the carry. Some tough yards to get down to the 32.
Well, that last interception, I'm not going to put it completely on Marcus Mariota because we're going to see right here, Taylor Lewan, 13 coming out of there. Watch the stumble right here, loses his feet, and that's the overthrow right there. But even before that, you're going to have pressure into the face. Jabal Shear just drove Taylor Lewan back and impacted the follow-through of Marcus on that throw.
Brissett in trouble, throws it away. And there's a flag down back inside the 20-yard line.
There's no foul on the play, as the defensive play was legal.
All right, let's go back and see the beginning of that. So you saw the stumble coming out. Now watch Jabal Shear down here with his pressure against Taylor Lewan. Gets inside pressure. Now he's pushing him all the way back, right into the lap of the pocket. And Marcus Mariota can't make the complete follow-through.
2 of the last 3 throws, interceptions from Mariota. Third down with Frank Gore in the backfield. Coming from the 31 of Tennessee, Brissett. Sideline throw right at the first down markers, Chester Rogers.
Let me tell you what, that's a big-time throw right there. Now, you're talking about opposite hash. We've got a player down.
Member of the Tennessee Titans defense, Jayon Brown, the rookie from UCLA.
And just by his reaction, this looks maybe possibly, let's track 55 and see what happens. Is this a non-contact? He kind of passes his own teammate. Hopefully they just click kneecaps.
And being reviewed here, is this a catch or not? It's good enough for a first down. Ruled a catch on the field. Rodgers.
I say yes. I didn't see it come through the chute.
We've seen a few. Moncrief with a great grab to the turf and Melvin's interception. The Colts know this turf well. And Rodgers with a first down grab. As Brown being helped up.
Good.
Headed to the Titans sideline. And Brissett goes over the 100-yard mark for the day on that throw that puts the Colts at the 23-yard line of the Titans.
That was a big-time throw. Again, I mean, he's coming from the opposite hash all the way across the field to a little stop route. You know, there's a big chance for a good defensive play on that to get a pick six. A lot of confidence in his ability to make that throw.
Frank Gore is a receiver to the top of your screen. Empty backfield for Brissett. Pass to T.Y. Hilton. Stays in bounds, sliding on that grab. Clock running under a minute. One timeout for Tennessee, two for the Colts, who control things at the moment. Gore just short of the first down. And timeout Indianapolis, so they'll have one remaining. Good time for a game break and check it again with Carissa.
Thanks, Chris. We head to Atlanta. Falcons were leading 10-3 in the second when Matt Ryan will find Julio Jones for this 25-yard score. Julio's second today after having just one in his first 10 games. Bucs would add a field goal, so the Falcons still lead 17-6. Chris?
All right, thanks, Carissa. Carolina's leading the Jets 12-3. In that NFC South. The AFC South, obviously these two teams, Jacksonville, the leader of the division, playing later out in Arizona against the Cardinals. Carol Johnston, Laura Oakman down on the field. Chris Myers, hope you're having a good time this weekend watching the NFL on Fox. A couple of AFC teams going at it. And the Colts threatening to take the lead. Frank Gore, touchdown Colts! Third career touchdown for the 34-year-old running back. And Indianapolis has the lead. Adam Vinatieri on for the extra point. He's got a couple of field goals to go with that. And the Colts lead at 13-7.
Good complimentary football by the Colts. There's the interception by the defense that gets the ball back. And we've talked about red zone struggles. And this time the Colts are able to get into the red zone and get a touchdown as opposed to kicking a field goal.
Trading field goals. Chuck Pagano finally got his offensive unit into the end zone. And Frank Gore, oh, Mr. Reliable. His third touchdown rushing this year. 33 yards in the game so far here in the first half against a Titans defense that has played well. They have sacked Brissett quite a bit, but on that drive, Jacoby Brissett crisp. And then the give to Gore. And the only touchdown of the first half belongs to the underdog Colts. But remember, the Titans have never won in this building. 0 for 9 so far. And this will be another touchback. With 38 seconds and one timeout, the Titans will have the football.
And there's some of the numbers that we're talking about very quietly. When you look at Frank Gore's accomplishments throughout his career, I right away think of Curtis Martin. I remember when Curtis Martin came up for the Hall of Fame votes and everything, and you started to see the numbers that Curtis Martin had put up during his career. I was blown away. It was done so quietly as a Jet up in New York City that you would have thought you would have heard more about it. Frank Gore's kind of that same guy. Very quietly has had a really, really good career.
DeMarco Murray carries, and Darryl, how about this? Just 11 rush yards as Gore made it into the end zone for Tennessee. 11 rush yards in this first half. A team with DeMarco Murray, Derrick Henry, and Marcus Mariota.
And, in my opinion, coming into the season, one of the higher-rated offensive line groups. And Mike Mularkey has to be in a conundrum right now because the line is too good. You mentioned the running backs, and then also a quarterback who's going to be a threat to run at any time.
2 takeaways by the Colts defense and a Gore touchdown, and they'll take the lead at the half. Titans get the ball to start the second half. First half celebrations are brought to you by Pepsi. Despite 6 sacks by the Titans defense of Jacoby Brissett, the Colts lead 13-6. They have a couple of interceptions from Frank Gore, the touchdown. Daryl Johnston up Chris Myers. And boy, if you're Mike Mularkey, I'm sure at the half, you're telling you, hey, I know we haven't won here. We have a playoff spot on the line. We have to play better football, especially when you think about the last game we played.
Well, the big thing for Tennessee is the fact that they've got to get into a better mindset. I think the point that they haven't won here and all that, but I want to go to the other side of it. I want to go to the Chuck Pagano side, the way his team has played with this season, kind of unraveling at specific times, and yet they still come out. He's had growth but no validation, and that's kind of been his message to the team. You know, we don't have anything to play for. A lot is good. Let's go out and let's get some validation. Let's get a win for all the hard work you guys have put in.
Yeah, they did have 3 games during the course of the season that they lost by 3 points or less, or that record would be tipped a little bit differently. Let's head down to the field to Laura and see what the coaches had to say.
I'm going to start with Mike Mularkey. The last time these two faced off in Nashville, the Titans scored 9 first-half points, then 27 in the second half. He said the key right now is execution, obviously not turning the ball over. They want to get the run game going. Chuck Pagano said defensively, all guys have been so disciplined doing their job. 11 guys on the same page there without Rashaan Melvin for the rest of the game, Chris.
Yeah, thank you for that update, Laura. And he had one of the interceptions, one of the 2 in the first half. And Kenny Moore came in for him, and the fact that the Titans haven't been able to run the football, just 13 yards on the ground in the first half, and the Mariota interception certainly have hurt.
And the big thing there for me are the sacks, and that was from the first series in that first half all the way through till halftime. The Titans front has done a really nice job, and I know that Indianapolis' offensive line has struggled during the course of the year, but they really upped their pressure game.
DeMarco Murray is going to lose yardage all the way back inside the 20. Jabal Sheard grabbed onto him and wouldn't let go.
Jabal Sheard at the end of the line. And that's his job. Goes inside and is able to get back outside. Was actually passed up by the tight end, by the fullback in that situation. Still able to make that play in the backfield.
After a loss of 9, Murray and Henry in the backfield. From the 19 of Tennessee, Mariota underneath to Murray. Well short of the first down. I'm sure Titan fans are wondering, Darryl, look, you can play for position to punt the ball, but come on, that's not even close to giving us a chance to get a first down.
No, and one of the things that I was surprised to find out about this offense coming into the game today, they had the second most 3-and-outs. The only team that had more were the Cleveland Browns. So they are a very inconsistent offensive group. And you heard Laura, 9 points the first half, 27 in the second. So just struggling to find that consistency for 60 minutes.
Brett Kern having a Pro Bowl year, and Chester Rogers back. Lets the ball bounce and down around the 20-yard line. Colts force a quick 3-and-out, take over on offense with the lead.
game is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Low fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency.
Chuck Pagano's defense kept him in it, and you see the last 3 times the offense has had the football, they've produced points, thus the lead.
White 20, white.
First possession of the second half. Frank Gore gets the carry, and a good run on first down. Mike Person is in at center for the Colts. Starter Ryan Kelly dealing with a concussion, and for Chuck Pagano, after that Jacksonville game when they lost in a shutout, they started to improve in a number of ways, and it began in practice and an approach.
Yeah, you go back and you listen to what they're talking about, how well they've played over the last 3 weeks. It kind of times up right there.
Gore close to a first down.
And one of the things that Chuck Pagano said he did, we started going good versus good during practice. Meaning the starters versus the starters. You're not running cards. A lot of times at practice, you simulate what the opponent is going to do. They wanted to get back to some of their first team offense versus their first team defense, just playing fast and communicating and learning that to trust the rules, that the rules work against any offense you're going up against. And then they took that, even Coach Monachino, the defensive coordinator, said we put them at specific points in practice when we would have a lull and make it a competitive part of that practice, and the tempo picked up.
Seeing some of the results of that today on a first down throw. There's Doyle alone. He's got a first down up around the 48-yard line of the Colts.
Right now, one of the things that's got to be driving Mike Mularkey crazy is the fact that everything he talked to his players about is happening. You got to watch Jack Doyle on the offense in the passing game. He's the guy that can give us issues. Jabal Sheard, on the defensive side, coming off the edge. We saw the negative run by DeMarco Murray when they had a good first down play. So everything that he talked to his team about coming into this game, they're not able to stop those components of Indianapolis.
And Jacoby Brissett continues his trend upward, settling in, running this offense. Frank Gore hit right there. No gain. Excellent defensive play by Avery Williamson. Laura?
Going back to what you guys were talking about with Chuck Pagano and physically what he's done at practice, that good on good. They're so big, this staff, on mental as well. Chuck told me at halftime, he told the team, we've been close. We've played great halves. We played great for 3 quarters. We haven't played that full game. He told them, let's finish the block, the tackle, the run, the throw. Let's finish. Everyone has a second gear. Let's hit it right now in the second half.
Hey, 5 down, 5 down. 5 down, 50. 5 down, 54. Let's go. Hey, repro. Line, let's go. Hurry, go.
Brissett incomplete, trying to get the football to Gore. You heard him say, hurry.
And that's that cat and mouse at the line of scrimmage. 5-man 54 means they're going to bring 54 into the count with the offensive line. So they're anticipating Avery Williamson being a blitzer. The 5 offensive linemen are responsible for the 4 down plus 54. And then all of a sudden, Tennessee shifts and he's got to get out of that. And they almost press it up to get a delay of game. So the hurry.
Some checking the wristband. The plays sent in. He checks the number, calls him in the huddle. Since his first start as a Colt week 2, and that was a game that went to overtime with the Arizona Cardinals. From the pocket and open, Chester Rogers. He's got a first down inside the 35 of the Titans.
This guy's breakout game last week. Has a great afternoon. Come out. He's made a couple of plays today, and this is well done by the interior because they pick up the blitz and allow this to be thrown. Adoree Jackson playing way off in that situation. Easy pitch and catch.
Rodgers inactive for the first 5 games, has played more lately. Week 10 against Pittsburgh. Career highs with 6 catches, over 100 yards.
319, right side.
Incomplete. Trying to go to Moncrief. Brissett acquired from the Patriots in a trade for Philip Dorsett, the Colts' first-round pick in 2015. He came in for Scott Tolzien in the 4th quarter of the opener, and he's played every snap of every game since. And, of course, started 2 games for the Patriots as a rookie, beat Houston in one of those.
Yeah, I think the Colts realized that the Rams were as good as they were going to be this year before anybody else. Really got roughed up in that opener.
And understood as the ball's botched on the snap. Brissett is on it, though.
Bobbled it again.
Gets a couple of yards out of that.
That just shows you the composure of Jacoby Brissett, because a lot of coaches will say just get down on that football.
And remember, he's working with
the new center,
the backup center,
exactly,
because of the concussion to Kelly.
And then right away, you go down and you grab it and you make something positive out of it. So there's your new center. So it's quarterback fumble exchange. I think Jacoby Brissett was coming out a little bit quick on that. I don't think that's going to be on Mike Person, but the ability to keep your composure and turn something negative into something positive.
Ricky, yeah.
Watch Winnie.
On a 3rd and 6 from the pocket. And what a catch. Jack Doyle extending his arms for another Colt first down.
Well, I thought it was interesting, talking to Brian Arakpo and asking him about the progression of Jacoby Brissett from the last time they played him until this game. And he said, listen, the guy's going to be a starter in the league at some place. And when Andrew Luck gets back, there's going to be a lot of teams calling about Jacoby Brissett again, just like they did when he was up in New England as the number 3 behind Garoppolo and Brady.
And Garoppolo, obviously the 49ers trading for him. Frank Gore carries inside the 25. Jack Doyle, though, the leading receiver in the game, the tight end of the Colts with 4 catches. And you always love a free agent hometown product that works his way up. He came into week 11 leading tight ends in catches. Came in through this week as well. He's closing in on his career high of 59 catches last year. Among the top 5 best of all time for a Colts tight end. Brissett in motion as a receiver. Direct snap. Gore slips a tackle and gets down to around the 15. Creative play there. Let's get a game break with Carissa.
Thanks, Chris. We head to Atlanta. Julio Jones said this week they got their swagger back. Sure looks like it. Tevin Coleman finishes off a 78-yard drive with that 3-yard run. Falcons lead 27-6. Chris, Dale, and more.
In that division with the Carolina Panthers and the Saints, who play later against the Rams out in Los Angeles. Carolina in a tight game with the Jets. That's now a 12-10 game in the second half of that one.
I think they might have got their swagger back the second half of Dallas. I think they've had it for a couple of weeks now.
Marlon Mack splits out as a receiver for Brissett. 3rd and 3 blitz coming. And they are going to get a sack. The 7th sack of Brissett today. And Arakpo with his second.
Brian Arakpo coming from. You're going to have both edges get there. You got a 5-man defensive line, and then you add Cyprien to the blitz. And you can see the competitive nature of Jacoby Brissett there. I mean, he is fighting. He's still going to try and get that ball down the field. He's got 2 Titan players hanging off his waist.
Vinatieri to try from 42 yards away. He's hit from 26 and 28. Trying to expand the lead for the Colts. And he got it. It's a 10-point lead for the Colts. It could have been more if Arakpo didn't get to Brissett to keep the Colts from getting closer to the end zone. Mike Mularkey with Marcus Mariota and the running game that Tennessee has leaned on so much this year to get to a 6-4 record, only producing 3 total yards today.
Well, what is his offense sometimes referred to as? Exotic smash mouth from back in his days in Pittsburgh. Right now this afternoon it's been exotic at times, but there has been no smash mouth to this run game at all this afternoon.
And the offense unattractive for the most part. They moved the ball in the first half, but settled for field goals. The Colts have an upset brewing. They have a 10-point lead over the favorite Titans in their building.
It is sponsored by the 2018 Ford F-150. It doesn't just raise the bar, it is the bar.
The Titan offensive leaders have not stepped up today against this Colts defense.
No, and DeMarco Murray, 9 carries for -3 yards. That's the elements that is missing, that physical run game element to what Mike Mularkey has kind of coined that term of exotic smash mouth that he brought from his days in Pittsburgh.
They need an exotic passing game is what they need. Catch made there by Eric Decker. But short passing, Mariota's been able to do that. He just hasn't been able to move it downfield.
Well, remember, he got off to a really good start. You know, at the beginning of the game, he was making some tremendous throws. The throw to Delaney Walker on the deep crossing route is one of the better throws I've seen all season long. And they've just got to get back into that kind of rhythm.
Maybe run the ball, Mariota, a little bit more. He told us he was healthy when we sat with him last night. He's only run the ball once. He has not been sacked. Hesitates and throws on the run. Corey Davis making that catch, and the early interception led to points, killed a drive.
Well, that's a bad decision, bad throw by Marcus Mariota right there. So I'm going to give him that one. The second one, he's got pressure in his face. You know, Jabal Sheard drives the tackle back into his face, and then we've got a wide receiver that stumbles on a crossing route.
And he's going to have to respond to the Colts, who have had 4 straight scoring drives. Colts have scored 16 straight points. What was once a 3-point Tennessee lead has evaporated. Derrick Henry in the backfield. It's an all Heisman backfield. Well, DeMarco Murray comes over. Mariota on the move. Throws the other way. Wide open. But can he get the first down? Yes, DeMarco Murray. Up near the 45 on a creative play and well executed by the Titans.
Yeah, this is really nice because I'm thinking it's a crack. I want you to watch DeMarco Murray 29 as he comes in. I'm thinking it's going to be a toss to the right because he's going to come in and crack the end of the line as a blocker. No, he's going to actually hold there and then sneak out the back. Actually, is a nice job defending it because Jeremiah George does not get fooled. He's at least there to slow it down a little bit.
A gain of 16. On first down from their own 45, pressure. Mariota showing some escapability, but has to get rid of it. Jabal Sheard made sure he didn't get away, and it's going to be 2nd and 10.
And this is, again, you bring in Dennis Kelly. He's an extra tackle. So here's your extra tackle right here. 3 guys. The last 2 guys are tackles, and you're supposed to be used to pass blocking. Jabal Sheard is having a day today. I mean, he is controlling both edges against this Tennessee offensive line.
Between him and Brian Arakpo, we're watching some outstanding defensive play between these 2 teams in the AFC South. Trying to dump it off to Derrick Henry, and it's going to be 3rd down.
This is why you want to affect the quarterback. You don't always have to sack him. You can get some hits on him, get him some hurries, make him feel uncomfortable in that pocket. Right now, Marcus Mariota is not comfortable. His feet are moving, he's going out the backside, and he's looking for checkdowns. When he gets outside and resets, he's not getting back into his progression. He's looking to get rid of the football.
He just does not look comfortable, and Mariota, the Colts have made him that way after that 4-interception game against the Steelers. He said he learned a lot from that. You can gain through adversity. Hoping to show it here for Tennessee. Under pressure, dumps it off. That should be Harry Douglas. Close to a first down. It's going to be a little bit short at the 46 of the Colts. And it may be a call here for Mike Mularkey, whether he would want to go for it or not. Looks like the punter is trotting out. He didn't even think about it.
I wouldn't trust my guys because right now I don't think that was protected correctly either. Nate Hairston is free to Marcus Mariota. There's been too many blitzers coming free to the quarterback.
Chester Rogers back. Kern leads the NFL in both gross punting and net punting.
You won't be happy with that one.
No, could have been a little better, at least for field position. Inside the 20. The Colts now have the football, they have the lead, and they have Frank Gore, who has the only touchdown of this game.
Sponsored by Taco Bell. Try the tasty rolled chicken tacos, back for a limited time.
Colts with an upset brewing at home, but they have never lost to the Titans in this building, and a 10-point lead. Under 3 to play in the 3rd quarter. Keep in mind, 5 of the 7 Colts losses this year, they have lost the lead and then eventually lost the game. Brissett keeps and then slides. He's been sacked 7 times. And this one will be a no-gainer.
But you avoid the big negative play back there. And there was an opportunity for that to get really bad. as you had Derek Morgan free. They try to run a little boot out the back. He does his job correctly and is there in contain.
Single 5 now. Hey, kill. Back. Single.
White 20. Tight. Kill on second and 10. Ball is fumbled by Marlon Mack. And the Titans fight, and it looks like they have it. Mack had a chance to retrieve his own loose football, and Tennessee with the takeaway.
Now let's go back a little bit here in this quarter, and we talked about Jacoby Brissett on the QB center exchange, and the ball goes through the ground. He's able to pick it up and make a play. In this situation, Marlon Mack, just get on it. Just get on it. You booted it right there with your knee. You got a ton of guys coming. Don't try and scoop that one up. Just get down on that football. Don't take a bad play and make it a game-changing play.
And Kevin Byard, who leads the NFL in interceptions, he comes up with a recovery with 3 Titans scrambling after Rodgers and Mack couldn't get the recovery. And it's 1st and goal from the 4-yard line. It's the first turnover by the Colts in this game, and it may turn the game upside down. I just mentioned how this Colts team has had trouble holding leads. They led in 5 of their 7 losses. Now the defense is on the spot. Derrick Henry flagged down. He's down at the 2. Maybe to the 1.
So now it's just a decision. Do you want to take half the distance? Looks like it's going to be offside, neutral zone infraction. Take half the distance and have it first down, or take the result of that play. They go into check with Coach Malarkey.
Take another down. And
offside. Defense number 90. That penalty is half the distance to goal. Replay. First down.
Grover Stewart called for the infraction.
Okay, so now you're first and goal at the 2-yard line. I mean, look at all these big guys over here. Tackle. There's a big tight end. There's your other tight end in the backfield, pulling your guard to that side. Keep doing that. It's 1st and goal at the 2-yard line right here.
Mariota, open end zone, touchdown Titans, Delaney Walker.
Or throw a nice play action to Delaney Walker in the back corner.
And he's burping the baby. I love these celebrations.
I'm going to go with CPR. I think he was doing CPR.
Oh, okay.
Trying to bring some life back into this football team.
I like that. That's even better. And the defense set him up, Mariota to Walker for 6.
And again, we've seen a couple of tough throws by Marcus Mariota. Delaney Walker playing tight end on the top. It's an easy route, but it's a well-thrown ball.
Extra point. It's a 3-point game after Walker's touchdown catch. Now this from Geico. After the fumble, Walker with his first touchdown catch of the year. He came in as the leading receiver on this Tennessee team, and his 53rd catch produces 6.
And a lot of times that play will be run with a tight end coming from the opposite side of the field, all the way across formation. But that time they've got Delaney Walker to the play side, and he just runs a simple corner route and is able to beat John Bostic to the back end.
And it took a turnover to kickstart the Titans offense after the defense scrambled for the fumbled football. Byard recovering Marlon Mack's loose handle there. And a chance for the Colts now. Ferguson will watch it sail through out to the 25. Jacoby Brissett will lead the offense. And the offense had scored on its last 4 previous possessions until this, and at the worst end of the field if you're a Colts fan.
And it's those handful of plays during the course of a game that all the coaches that we've had an opportunity to sit down with this year talk about, and they're momentum tipping, game changing, and that was a big one. The fumble recovery, and Marlon Mack in that situation, understanding what's going on in the game at that time. Just get on that football, maintain possession of it.
The rookie feeling terrible about that, but the Colts still with the lead. And Frank Gore carries. I did want to clarify, Darryl, they did give credit on that play before the fumble when Jacoby Brissett slid. They gave the Titans credit for the sack, so that's the 8th sack. One more, and the Titans equal the franchise record. That defensive pressure has had an impact on this game as Mack watches from the sideline. 5 carries in the game for Mack, 14 for Frank Gore.
White 20, cut.
Brissett wide open. I'm not sure how Jack Doyle got wide open, but he was alone and got all the way to the 46 of Tennessee.
Let's go back to the top, and Laura talked about Frank Gore and him being known as an all-purpose back, and to be an all-purpose back, you got to be able to do everything. You run with the football, catch it, but also in pass protection. It keeps you on the field. That's a nice job, getting on top of Jonathan Cyprien quickly, allowing Jacoby Brissett to feel comfortable in a traditional pocket.
Now, if you're the Titans, I know you worry about T.Y. Hilton, but the leading receiver is Doyle on this team. To allow him to run free as the third quarter is winding down. Doyle leads all receivers in this game with 5 catches. The Colts tight end and the Titans tight end, Delaney Walker, leads Tennessee with 4 catches, and of course that touchdown moments ago.
And again, just the points that we made, what do you got to worry about? Doyle in the pass game, Mack is an outside runner, and Sheard in the pass rush.
Well, it's worth pointing out that the Colts have allowed the most fourth quarter points in the NFL this year. The team right behind them, the Tennessee Titans. What kind of finish are we in for? It's been a real battle so far. The Colts lead the Titans by 3 after 3 on Fox. If Chuck Pagano looks nervous, it's because look at that. Who's going to outscore who in this final quarter? He starts with a 3-point lead over Mike Mularkey at the Titans, who have a playoff spot on the line. They're holding one at 6-4 and still looking up in the division at Jacksonville in an AFC South squabble here to start the fourth quarter. Brissett to throw, a hit as he throws out of bounds. The pressure was on. He's already been sacked 8 times today. Pointing downfield, he didn't like something.
I think they were trying to get him, he intentionally grounded it, but he got outside the pocket, got it beyond the line of scrimmage. Brian Orakpo was trying to talk the officials into give him another one.
Orakpo said this Titans team, he said, we're ahead of schedule. Last year they were 5-5 at this time. 6 wins, Marlon Mack in the backfield, Brissett throwing deep down the sideline and slightly overthrows T.Y. Hilton, who has just a couple of catches today.
And we've talked about Frank Gore as a pass protector. That was a good job by Marlon Mack on that last play against Derek Morgan, a big outside edge rusher, was able to step up and get a nice job in protection.
Eric Weems standing back at the 10-yard line. It's a little bit different as Sanchez kicks off. All the scoring has been done at that end of the field, at least most of the first half scoring. High kick, bounces, and down perfectly. That's a great special teams play for the Colts. Chris Milton was in the right place and ready for it. This weekend, Super Saturday on Fox, Big 12 football championship, Oklahoma and TCU. That'll be a good one. And some Big 10 action, hoops, Ohio State and Wisconsin. That's a face-off right here in Indianapolis. Big 10 championship on the line, Super Saturday, next weekend on Fox. Daryl Johnston, Chris Myers in the fourth quarter of a game that the Titans, Marcus Mariota said, look, when we lost to the Steelers, we battled back. That's the kind of team we want to be. We want to be like the Steelers and the Cowboys. We want to get to that level. Some of the players on defense for Tennessee saying we have to earn the respect around the NFL. Derrick Henry sheds a tackler, gets up near a first down. That's a big run by Henry. One of the more impressive runs from Tennessee today.
And again, I'm just always surprised by his quickness. He has a very smooth flow, and Kenny Moore, the corner who is actually now in for Rashawn Melvin, came up to make the first hit on him, and he was a little bit slow getting up. But Derrick Henry's got some deceptive speed to the corner for a big guy.
He did pick up the first down from the 12-yard line. Henry remains the back. Mariota the throw, and open is Corey Davis. Hold that football out. He's run out of bounds.
Easy, Rook. You just saw what a turnover at this end of the field can do to the momentum of a game. Just tuck that ball away. Be smart. There's no style points up here.
Yeah, and with the roof open and the window open at the other end of the field, it's the end zone behind where the Titans are now. All the scoring but one field goal has been in that direction. There is a slight breeze. Quick throw, Mariota, catch made. Decker tripped up right away. And it'll bring a third down. Kenny Moore making the play.
That's one of the things that's happened in this Colts secondary. A lot of these young guys getting meaningful snaps during the course of the season early on when they had some injuries. It will pay dividends down the stretch for them.
Mariota, I think the Titans thought, Darryl, that they could take advantage of that Colts secondary, even though they know the Colt defense had been playing better overall, even with Melvin out of there for the second half. Let's see if the Titans take advantage of that here. There's time for Mariota, and floats one, and Harry Douglas makes the catch. And a clutch catch from the veteran in his first game active this year.
See if you get a little bit of a challenge at the release. Corey Davis coming down does a great job of not having contact with the defender.
Douglas able to be active because of Rashard Matthews being inactive, the 10-year veteran. Coming off a knee injury, he was with Malarkey back in Atlanta. We're going to have a challenge. And I didn't see he juggled the football a little bit, but the challenge coming from the Colts sideline.
Indianapolis is challenging the ruling on the field of a completed pass.
Wanted to get that in, Chuck Pagano, before the snap.
So again, he's going to go to the ground. So it's the process of the catch. So you've got to establish possession, get your 2 feet down, and then maintain possession through the process of the catch.
He has it there clearly. It's that rollover part that we couldn't see. And I wonder if
that'll be the angle they're looking for right here. Maybe you might be able to get it.
Well, Chuck Pagano
loose right there.
Is 3 of 7 with challenges this year. 46% in his career.
Looks like he loses possession. He had the hand underneath it. Right there, it looks like he's got the hand underneath it, but it looks like he loses possession.
Mike Pereira watching with us, our rules analyst. Mike? He's getting in position to give us his thoughts.
We're looking at all the angles here. Actually, that last angle shows at first we thought there was no way that you could overturn it, but does the ball come loose in that process of going to the ground? Remember now the key terminology they talk about, you have to survive the ground. So you have to survive the contact of the ground and hold on to the ball throughout that whole process. Here you never get a really good look, but it's that last shot that really brings in that element of the ball coming loose after he's hit the ground.
Mike, expound on survive the ground.
So, in other words, if you're going to the ground, directly to the ground, what you must do is hold on to the ball when you hit the ground. Now, if you hit the ground and then roll over, and after that, then the ball comes loose, then you have considered surviving the ground. But in this process here, when he hits, the ball rolls over for a flash. Does he lose control? Hard to say. I think it's more incomplete in my mind.
So you would leave it. You're 2 for 2 today.
No, it's called catch.
Yeah, but I mean,
it was called catch.
Yeah, but
that's good. I can win either way if you say
that's what I'm worried. He was doing the confirmation. He didn't pay the fine, trying to get the confirmation call last time.
So he's not as sure.
Now he's trying to cover his bases this time.
Based on what we saw earlier, they got to leave it. They had one close earlier. Ralsted with Alberto Riveron and his assistants in New York, ultimately making the call.
After review, the ruling on the field has been changed. It is an incomplete pass. It will be 4th and 4 to the 17-yard line. Timer. put 12:47 on the game clock.
Smart challenge by Pagano, and I thought that this whole replay was the clear and obvious things you changed, Mike Pereira.
Well, but didn't I say they would? Didn't I say they would change it?
We'll give you credit.
You had a vote.
To me, it was clear and obvious.
To you, it was okay. To the Titans and their fans, it was not. But a good challenge by the Colts, and that's the way it goes. So that was a major third down conversion that's taken off the board.
And we've seen several times today where the team has hustled up to the line to try and beat that challenge. And in that situation, Tennessee was not worried about that. They were at a normal pace.
It's a good point there. It gave them time to get the challenge flag out. Sideline, Chester Rogers, and out of bounds. The punt inside the 25. Under 13 minutes to go, and the Colts, who are on offense now, are protecting a 3-point lead.
Today's game is sponsored by K Jewelers. Every kiss begins with K. And by Burger King. Try the 2 for $6 Whopper sandwich deal today only at Burger King.
Jacoby Brissett steering an offense that has produced one touchdown, and that by the veteran Frank Gore. And Jack Doyle, his tight end, has been Mr. Reliable on first down with a 3-point lead here in the fourth. Gore carries. He gets something out of that to get up near the 30. And how cautious will Brissett and this offense be with a narrow lead here in the fourth quarter?
Oh, no, you've got over 12 minutes to go here. You stay with your game plan, continuing to do the things that you prepared for all week long against this Titans defense. So no time right now to kind of pull the reins back a little bit and try to take time off that clock. You need more points on the board with it just being a 3-point lead.
After a pickup of 6, Moncrief in motion. Gore will bring up third and a couple.
But again, this is the MO. You know, you come out, you establish the run with Frank Gore, and this Titans defense has played well against the run. Last 4-6 games really have picked up their run defense. So this is a nice job by this Colts run game this afternoon.
And on third down in the last series, Brissett went deep down the sideline, which was an interesting call. Here, they only need 2 with Gore in the backfield. Gore over 60 yards rushing today. Brissett to throw, and incomplete for T.Y. Hilton. And the punting unit comes out for Indianapolis.
Pressure right into the middle. Again, Jonathan Cyprien free to the quarterback, and that has happened multiple times this afternoon. So the protection scheme of the Colts is not functioning well against Dick LeBeau's pressure.
Brett Kern, the 10-year veteran from Toledo, who is having a career season. Rigoberto Sanchez signed as a free agent, who beat out Jeff Locke in the preseason with the punt and the fair catch inside the 25-yard line. The Colts defense has come up with a couple of interceptions today. They'll have to protect a 3-point fourth quarter lead. The Titans have the football. Mike Mularkey has not had the running game that he would like, trailing by 3 here in the fourth. Derrick Henry starts in the backfield. Marcus Mariota has 7 career game-winning drives, 3 of them this year, and 1 could be included earlier in Nashville when he came back against the Colts. It wound up being a lopsided game. He's going to need to lead the Titans back here if they want to get a win, and there is Henry. Trying to turn the corner. He gets up across the 31-32-yard line before going out of bounds.
Chuck Pagano said this week this is the best stretch he has seen his defense play his tenure year as head coach of the Indianapolis Colts. And that's a big statement. You know, the last 3 weeks have been a tough season, and you see it today. I mean, I am so impressed with how they have shut this Tennessee run game down.
And you see the difference in points, what they allowed in the first 7 games and what they allowed in those last 3 you were talking about, just 19. And the Titans are stuck on 13 at the moment. Henry with room to run, and Derrick Henry near the first down across the 43-yard line.
And it's a complementary style when you talk about the run game of Tennessee. DeMarco Murray is going to be your starter, and Derrick Henry is going to get his carries. But right now, he's having the plays that Derrick Henry is getting. He's having the most success. And we'll see if maybe he becomes the featured guy here down the stretch in the fourth quarter.
5 carries for Henry for 20 yards. Murray negative yards on 9 carries. Decker in motion. It is a first down. And Henry goes straight ahead to midfield.
Here's the run defense this afternoon. Watch how many of these plays are behind the line of scrimmage. Al Woods right there with a big play. They're just stoning the Tennessee offensive line and reestablishing the line of scrimmage. So nowhere really for this run game to go to, but here in this drive, we started off by showing you 14 carries for 13 yards, and here they rip off 2 big runs back to back.
Best game of Henry's career came in the first meeting with the Colts. He had 131 yards, including a lengthy touchdown run. There's a flag down.
Offside. Defense, number 92. That 5-yard penalty results in a first down.
Margus Hunt, number 92, jumping. So now at the 45-yard line, spotted. First down, Titans. Henry remains the back.
Hey, he up. We still. Blue 80. I said.
And low, incomplete, and behind Delaney Walker, who was open for a moment.
But the decision, and that's gonna be a risky throw in that situation right there, because it's not open down the seam. You've got safety help. You're trying to kind of back shoulder that. So as he works up the seam right there, linebacker turns him. There's the inside linebacker running underneath, and then here comes safety help from T.J. Green over the top. So I didn't like the decision there by Marcus Mariota.
On second down, he has plenty of time, and a catch made leaping in the air. Corey Davis to the 25 of the Colts. That was a big league connection.
Well, it was funny to see this offseason. They go out, they get Corey Davis, number 5th pick overall in the draft, and then they trade up to get Tywan Taylor, also at the wide receiver spot in the 3rd round. And it goes back to Mike Mularkey's days down in Atlanta. He saw Roddy White and Julio Jones together. He knows how dynamic you have to be on the outside, and he's trying to upgrade that exotic smash mouth style. They've got the run game potential, but now he just wants to add to the ability in the pass game.
Blitz threatened. Henry to run. Gets room off the blitz. Has a first down. Nearing the 10-yard line.
It's so funny when you send a blitz, sometimes the run goes right into that area. The blitz area, there's John Bostic right there. He's coming into that spot. Watch where he goes into. Now he gets caught. Look where the ball goes. Right into the area where you tried the blitz. If you can get that blitz, that blitzing defender caught up in the wash, and that ball can find its way back, there's usually a big play right there.
And that was a big run of 14 yards. Henry again. Derrick Henry. 9-yard pickup. They found something in this drive with Derrick Henry on the ground.
Well, it's really commitment to the run, right? And there's Mike Mularkey. Your offensive line coach is Russ Grimm. You're kind of built this way. This is what you want to do. Staying committed to the run. You're going to have your struggles. You can't abandon it. This staff will never abandon the run, but they really struggled until this drive this afternoon.
Derrick Henry hits a wall at the goal line. It'll be first down and goal to go.
I mean, this is classic Tennessee Titan style of offense. And now that the running game is clicking, you see some conservative passing. The one pass down the field that Marcus made, I wasn't too happy with. And a lot of it comes from Russ Grimm right there, one of the original Hogs up in Washington. You remember those teams?
Oh, yes.
3 tight ends, big offensive line, just come off that ball, rolling physical.
DeMarco Murray has joined Henry in the backfield. Inside handoff and touchdown, DeMarco Murray. Derrick Henry does all the work to get him down there. Murray shows up and they give him the football to go in for 6.
See, if he was a good teammate, he'd have switched with Derrick Henry on that and said, no, that's your play call. You've been working. You go up to the fullback spot. I'll stay back here.
Titans are just happy they were able to run it in.
Well, it was an impressive drive, and you never know why. Why did the running game struggle so much the entire game up until that drive? There was really nothing different. They didn't start off with anything great. It started off with a short pass that Derrick Henry, turned into a long gainer.
Henry 5 carries on that drive for 42 yards, and he had a 10-yard reception. So 52 yards in that drive. But it's DeMarco Murray who takes it in from 1 yard out officially, and the extra point gives the Titans a 4-point lead. A lot of the heavy lifting done by Derrick Henry, but DeMarco Murray puts the Titans in front. Derrick Henry helping the Titans pound the ball, get close. DeMarco Murray takes it in, and Tennessee out in front, leading for the first time in this game since an early 3-point lead when the teams were trading field goals in the opening quarter. Under 6 minutes to go. Now the Colt offense will have to respond. Josh Ferguson downs it, touchback, so out to the 25-yard line. Let's Darryl take a look at that last drive.
Yeah, it was very methodical, and it was all Derrick Henry, as you pointed out. And again, I just think he's got that deceptive speed. I don't know if it's his long strides, but he does the heavy lifting. They get down onto the goal line. It's a run-centric drive, and then DeMarco Murray finishes it for the touchdown. But the big question now is for the Colts. You watch that Pittsburgh game, they played so well, and it gets to this stage of the game, and it goes back to what Chuck Pagano said. We're growing, we're getting better, but we have no validation.
Brissett to throw, and does. Who else? Doyle across the 32-yard line. There's a flag down back at the 41.
Illegal block in the back. Offense, number 13. That 10-yard penalty would be forced from the end of the run. Replay, first down.
The call on T.Y. Hilton. He has just 2 catches today, and now a penalty negates what was a healthy first down gain. They showed it here in the stadium, and the Colt fans didn't like it. The ball spotted back now at the 23 of Indianapolis. Brissett in trouble, dumps it off to Frank Gore, and Gore made something happen, taking it up to the 29-yard line.
One of the big things in the screen game is finding that balance between selling it to make it seem like it's going to be a pass play and then being able to get into the element of the screen. And sometimes the offensive line doesn't give enough pressure back. And in that one, it looked like the pass rush of the Titans was going to get to Jacoby Brissett, but fortunately they had the screen set up.
Brissett has already been sacked 8 times by this Titans defense. Earlier in the year, he was sacked 10 times by Jacksonville. Brissett to throw. Completes. Short of the first down, Doyle, and good defense to make sure by Derek Morgan. He didn't gain anything on that or anything further to get closer to the sticks at the 35.
Now getting a little bit more consistent with their blitz pickups. Again, Marlon Mack on that play. Pressure coming off the slot, crosses formation, gives Jacoby Brissett the time.
Doyle with 7 catches in the game, nearing the 100-yard reception mark. But an important 3rd and 3. Marlon Mack is in the backfield with Brissett. And low throw. Trying to get to Chester Rogers, but incomplete.
This Titans defense continuing to bring pressure in these critical situations, and it's impacting the ability of the Colts, to function cleanly.
So Wesley Woodyard, who's having a Pro Bowl year, best of his career, and this at age 31, leading the team in tackles. And on 4th down, Sanchez to punt. Dory Jackson waves fair catch inside the 20-yard line of Tennessee. Next Sunday, Fox NFL doubleheader. Matt Ryan of the Falcons take on the Vikings early. America's game of the week. Panthers and Saints. Some will see the Rams taking on the Cardinals. The exciting offense of the Los Angeles Rams. Sunday on Fox. Check local listings for the games in your area. I mentioned how good Chuck Pagano has been in his career coaching against the Titans, but this season, in 7 games, 5 of the 7 losses, they had leads that they lost. There's a look at how it went. Looks like there was a flag. Sorry, picked up the officials going over things.
Holding offense number 26. That's a 10-yard penalty. Replay. 4th down.
So he has the option here, and it looks like he's going to have him re-kick. Sanchez is coming back out and will be standing inside his own 10-yard line. And the Titans with Dory Jackson hoping for a better return and better field position. Just over 4 minutes to play.
Yeah, they executed it well last time. It was a nice punt by Sanchez. Good coverage.
Did not get the official number or call on the penalty from the officiating crew. And they'll pick up about 9 or 10 yards depending on the spot because of that penalty. We welcome you to our booth here in Indianapolis. It's been an entertaining game in this AFC West or AFC South struggle, I should say. And the Titans now have turned things around in their favor. How are they able to do it now in good position to hang on?
Well, now you kind of get worried if you're a Colts fan, because this is the area where a team with a really good running game is dangerous. They've got the lead. They can take the time off the clock. We saw that last drive, as methodical as we've seen them all afternoon. A Colts defense that did a great job up until that point of shutting down the run, all of a sudden had issues stopping the run. So we'll see what Tennessee does here on this drive.
First half turnovers by Mariota had quite an impact, but here they go back to the ground, and the veteran DeMarco Murray, who's got a first down and wisely stays inbounds. And this will be your 4-minute offense with a 4-point lead.
Yeah, and watch what they do to Jabal Sheard. Watch as he collapses down. You're going to pull that tight end, Jonnu Smith, all the way from the backside. He comes in hard to squeeze it, and he gives up outside contain. And DeMarco Murray is able to bounce it right outside.
Now they're averaging over 3 yards a carry on the ground as Murray steps out. And Derrick Henry, in the earlier meeting between these teams in the 4th quarter, he had 88 rush yards, and he's got 52 total yards today, 10 on a catch, the rest on running, and here he's running again. And there's a flag, and we're going to get a horse collar as he's dragged out of bounds by Antonio Morrison, and a major penalty at the worst time for the Colts defense.
Personal foul, horse collar tackle, defense number 44. That 15-yard penalty will be added to the end of the run, automatic, first down.
Pursuing from the inside out and trying to work your way through, and you've got the stiff arm, and this is a big player safety one. I've seen so many really terrible injuries in these situations, and it's hard. I think sometimes it's like the inadvertent face mask. I don't think that there was any intention by Antonio Morrison to do that. But you get out there and, gosh, Derrick Henry's got a huge stiff arm that he's trying to lay on you, and you're just trying to get him to the ground.
With that penalty, Darrell moves it all the way to the 41-yard line. And at the 3-minute mark, DeMarco Murray. And it looks like we have a timeout, and the Colts are going to have to start using theirs. They'll have 2 remaining, and there will be the 2-minute warning, of course. The Colts, who came into this game with a 3-7 record, they get the division leaders next. Again, the Jags playing out in Arizona a little later today. And then finish the year against the Houston Texans here in Indianapolis. And for the Titans, what's interesting is they finish the season against Jacksonville, and that could be the division decider for the AFC South. Jags with a 1-game lead coming in. The Titans won the earlier beating against Jacksonville. That was back in week 2. After a loss of 1, Henry slips a tackle in the backfield and gets down to around the 36. Timeout again. Colts will have 1 remaining. So you're trying to do 2 things, right? If you're Tennessee, you're trying to kill the clock, but also precarious advantage here. If you can at least get in position to get 3, then that pretty much makes it, it's a 7-point game versus just, okay, we can't lose the game if the opposition comes back, it's a late touchdown.
Yeah, and force Indianapolis to burn all their timeouts. So if they do get an opportunity, they're functioning in a hurry-up situation with no timeouts to stop the clock. So you kind of take away that middle of the field in a critical play down the stretch.
Derrick Henry on 11 carries has 62 yards to lead the Tennessee offense.
So Chuck Pagano told us we have not made the plays at the critical times. This is the biggest snap of the game right here. We'll see how his defensive unit performs here.
And an empty backfield for Marcus Mariota, who's capable of running, but he's only run once by design here. Now here comes DeMarco Murray to join him in the backfield, pointing. Mariota to throw, and it's a little flip to DeMarco Murray, who's going to get the first down inside the 30.
And he went down to the ground in bounds and didn't get shoved out of bounds to stop the clock.
And that forced the Colts to use their last timeout, and they'll still have the 2-minute warning.
Well, Antonio Morrison followed DeMarco Murray out, and then when he came back into the backfield, he came back in, but he got out leveraged right away. You see 44 coming from the inside out right there. So, yeah, I don't know if that was part of that whole play design. Let's go out and check the coverage. Okay, yeah, we got man-to-man against the linebacker, bring him back in. They're not changing anything, and then go right back to DeMarco Murray on that critical snap.
Interesting design, yeah, because Murray ran out and then was not in the backfield, then went back there and was available for the reception. Coming up, the State Farm postgame show here on Fox. You'll see bonus coverage of the Carolina Panthers and the Jets from New York. Right now, Carolina trailing by 2 in that game. Derrick Henry. Now you're in position here. You can take this to the 2-minute warning and have 2 more snaps before you'll have to decide anything in terms of downs. Well, another item to check off on the list if Mike Mularkey's team can hang on here. Titans winning their first game in this building after going 0 for 9. And as he said, with the roof open, we're used to this kind of weather. We practice in it, we play in it. And the Titans hoping that the run on the Colts continues. 2 minutes and no timeouts for the Colts. Tennessee with a 2nd down in field goal range, protecting a 4-point lead. And if the Titans play this right, Darrell, they'll have a 4th down decision, maybe with just seconds remaining, to try and not allow the Colts to even get the ball back. Henry, a 1st down would put an end to all of this, and he just did. What a clutch run and smart to stay inbounds.
Yeah, the attention to detail. We saw it with DeMarco Murray on the earlier play, stayed inbounds, made sure he was tackled inbounds. And this run here, it's all bottled up, but you've got to maintain your rules. You can't collapse inside. That's a great job staying inbounds. We talk about it as receivers, but to be able to keep that clock running, well done by Derrick Henry.
And what a game, what a second half, what a fourth quarter Derrick Henry has had. 79 yards rushing. Carried the Titans on his back in a key drive. Colts trying to get a player off the field in time before the snap and a flag down. And we may have a clock runoff here, a defensive penalty. They'll be huddling to discuss.
Jeez. Offside. Defense. It's a 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Looked like one of the Colts may have been on the side of the field trying to run off when that ball was snapped.
Again, for Chuck Pagano, one of the things, the first things that he talked to us about was, we're getting better, but we don't have any validation. I can talk to you about how well we've played the last 3 weeks, but we're 1-2 during the course of those 3 weeks. And again, it's another really good performance. There's positives that he's going to be able to find, but again, they're not finding a way to finish and win games.
So they do the 10-second runoff. And the Titans will be able to just snap and watch the clock fade. You wonder, an in-division opponent with tiebreakers and as tight as the AFC South, the top of that division is, as Mike Mularkey celebrates. But he knew what to do with Derrick Henry, who had 3 carries, no yards in the beginning for the first 3 quarters, and in the fourth quarter, 10 carries for 79 yards.
Yeah, awesome. So let's go back to how we came on air, and Laura talked to us about things that they'd accomplished this year. They won Jacksonville. They ended the Colts streak down in Nashville, and why can't we come up here and do this here? Have never won at Lucas Oil Field. Well, you can't say never anymore. Check that last box today. Well done by the Titans.
Tennessee will improve to 7-4, keep the heat on the Jags at the top of the AFC South. Keep their playoff hopes alive. Mariota surviving a couple of first half interceptions. The Colts will slip to 3-8. Frank Gore scoring the only touchdown for the Colts. And an impressive comeback for the Titans on the road to get their first win in this building. We'll have more from Indianapolis in a moment.